So I'm Kristin Quinn. I write a blog called Misadventures in Mommyhood, and I'm also a social media marketing consultant. I have 5 people in my family, so it's myself and my husband. I have a 9-year-old girl, a 6.5-year-old boy, and a 3-year-old crazy toddler. And we just got a Great Dane puppy, which counts as 3 other people in our family because he will be 200 pounds. So I have to say that although every single minute was worth it for what you get at the end, for me, pregnancy is really hard. I went into it as an athlete thinking, oh, I'm in shape, I've maintained a really good diet, this baby's gonna come right out of me, and I learned very quickly that has nothing to do with anything. Just like nothing I've ever experienced before. The pain was really, really hard, even with an epidural. 100% the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. Again, would do it again in a second, so worth it, but definitely felt shell-shocked and relieved when it was over. So the first day home with my first child was so surreal. I couldn't believe that they let me walk out of this hospital with a human being. My husband and I were like, wait. That first night, we both cracked a beer and cheersed each other. We're like, this is so great. We're finally settled in. She's swaddled and she ate. And then, we both fell asleep on the couch, and worst night ever. Just absolute worst night ever. She wouldn't eat. We were both up all night, exhausted in the morning, and she was happy and ready to play. It was just a hot mess. How I prepared for that first baby was very typical of a first baby. I got 9,000 things I didn't need. I prepared the nursery. I had a picture in my mind about how amazing it was all gonna be. I had no idea I would be up every 2 hours. I just was not prepared for that. Actually ended up getting shingles because I was so stressed and tired and not taking care of myself. So knowing those things with my first child, a second child, I was not so prepared with products, but I was prepared mentally of, what it was gonna look like afterwards. And my delivery with the second one was so much easier that it really helped the postpartum period, even though I was so prepared. Still had the tears would flow all the time, but knew this time that that was normal and that it was okay and that I can talk about that. And so I felt much better in that way. And I actually felt like going from 1 to 2 kids, postpartum challenges were the hardest. Because I was like, oh, I did it the first time, I'll just do it the second time. I didn't have as much help in that I had a 2-year-old running around. I felt like I was prepared for the hormonal stuff and not as prepared as what, having 2 very young children in the city meant. I think with my first, I kind of realized like, okay, this is my plight. Here's how it's gonna get better. I'm gonna start a routine. It's gonna be feed, play, sleep. Feed, play, sleep. Feed, play, sleep. And that way, she knew the routine, I knew the routine, and it wasn't this hodgepodge of, oh my God, I don't know when she's gonna eat, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do the dishes. That routine with the first really helped me a lot. With the third, I will say, just jumping forward, my older 2 were in school. So that made a huge difference. I really felt like I could get time with the baby during the day while they were at school and pre-K. And then, put the baby aside and then spend time with the kids when they got home from school. It left very little time, I will say to myself, in those early months, but I knew that there was an end in sight. I gave myself, especially with the third, after having such a hard delivery, full reign to just sit and recover, because I knew that if I didn't do that, I couldn't be a mom to my older kids. Some other things I would farm out, per se, is cleaning person, 100%. I couldn't spend the time that this house needed to stay clean. So I really felt like that was a gift to myself and just one less thing I had to think about. So that was huge. I also in the beginning would make all my baby food, and second and third I was like, okay, I gotta buy the baby food. I don't have time to make the baby food. So I kind of let myself, I gave myself a little slack there. So one thing I wish I had known ahead of time for the first baby was that it was okay to be sad. You have this beautiful life that you created, and nobody posts pictures about how you can feel really isolated, and nobody really talks about that, especially back then, to be honest. There weren't a ton of mommy blogs talking about that. I think I cried every day 5 times a day, and it wasn't because I was even, upset about anything. It was just, that's the way it is, It's hard work, you're tired, you're hormones are all over the place, and it's just okay to be sad. You know, people always say, enjoy every moment. You don't have to enjoy every moment. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to say, ugh, this is hard. But just know that it's all worth it. It is absolutely the most thrilling. I have chills up my arms. I wish I was 30 years old so I could have 3 more kids. Not gonna happen, but it's just the best thing in the entire world to become a parent.